What is up, my dudes? So everybody and their mama knows that the stock R7 exhaust is very quiet. Actually, why don't you guys just listen and hear this thing? That's very quiet. Like, people can't hear me. It's already bad enough that the bike is all black. So we're gonna fix that today. So I got myself here this Chinese eBay exhaust. It's a full exhaust, so hopefully this is gonna make the bike a lot louder than what it is. Yeah, this is a knockoff, I guess. Sorry, SC Project, but I got one of your knockoffs. It's only like 100 some bucks. All right, so check it out. This is the whole kit right here. Comes with all the piping, comes with a black exhaust tip, comes with these two header pipes, comes with a silencer too, and it also comes with all this hardware and stuff. So we are going to start installing this exhaust onto the 2025 Yamaha R7. So this is my first time installing an exhaust onto a motorcycle. So we're gonna take this step by step. I'm guessing all that stuff has to be removed first. I think that's called like the lower fairing or lower belly fairing. I'm so new to this, guys, so bear with me here. But yeah, we're definitely gonna take off that stuff and hopefully it gives us access to remove the whole system. We're gonna start doing that now. So let's start off by removing all these 4mm hex bolts. Those little Phillips, like little push clip pin things, those gotta come out too. So once you kind of unscrew it a little bit, just kind of dig your nail into there and pop it out. Like that. There is one more little push pin Phillips on the other side of this thing. Let me show you. See that? So we gotta take that off too. Yep. Once that's off, it'll just come off. Probably should have took that off before I started popping it out, but we did it. So anyways, that's how it looks, all exposed without that bottom fairing piece. Okay, so next we're gonna take off this piece, this bottom piece. We're probably gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm not too sure yet. When we get there, we'll get there, and if I have to take it off, then I'll take it off. Don't forget that little Phillips push pin thing that's on the inside. You won't be able to take this fairing off without taking that push pin out. So we got some more Phillips screws right here. We have another 4mm right here. Take this off. All right, and that bottom piece comes off. So it looks like this side's bottom piece is bolted on with this 10mm nut right here, and also that 4mm right there. And now I'm actually realizing that I didn't need to take off these two screws. I could have just took this bottom piece together as a whole. Oh well, for next time when I do like an oil change or something, now I know. Okay, so we got all of the bottom fairings and belly pan thing off. So now we have literally all the space to get this exhaust off. So the next thing to do, here right at the head, you have four, it looks like 12mm nuts. So we'll be taking those off. And then we gotta take that O2 sensor off and wherever this thing mounts to on the frame of the bike. So we'll be doing that now. So this O2 sensor is 17mm. So just get a 17mm open, break it loose. It's not on there that tight. So once you break it loose, just kind of twist it off a couple times. I'm not going to take it off right now. I'm actually going to take it off once I have the exhaust drop. Normally you would unplug it from the connector and then from there you start twisting it off. If you don't unplug it, all these wires here, they're going to start getting all like twisted and knotted up, and sometimes you could stretch it or even in some cases break the wire. We're going to take this exhaust off. We're gonna unbolt it from the head, those four 12mm nuts. And then after we get that going, we're gonna find where it's mounted onto the frame and unbolt that. So to unbolt these header bolts, or nuts I should say, we're gonna use a 3/8 with an extension. I think this is like a 6-inch extension and a 12mm deep socket. The nuts are not on there tight at all. So I probably didn't even need a ratchet this long, but whatever, I was prepared. You definitely need an extension that's at least 6 inches, because if not, your wife will leave you. I mean, it's not gonna reach the header nut. Okay, all done. All right, so those nuts, they are loose now. So I'm just going to take them out by hand. The flanges are gonna fall, but that's okay because this exhaust is still mounted onto the frame. So that's that. These things can come down. And now this exhaust should be free to come out once we unbolt it from the frame. Okay, so actually let me come back here so you guys have an idea of where this exhaust is bolted onto the frame. It's all the way in here. It's a 12 millimeter, right where I'm pointing. We gotta take that off. And on the other side, I believe it's another 12 millimeter. Let's go check it out. Yep, there's the other 12 millimeter right there. So those two have to come out and then this exhaust should drop. So on the right side, the rear brake pedal is kind of in the way, so push it down. And with that same extension, you should be able to reach it. Okay, now that that's broken loose, we'll do the other side. So here on the other side, it is gonna be the same exact thing. We're gonna take it off completely. The other side is loose, it's not out, but this one, we're gonna take off completely and try to find our way in there. All right. So what I've also done too, one of the boxes that it came with, I put it under where the muffler is. I should actually move it somewhere this way. Then I got a piece of wood to just kind of support it when it drops. It shouldn't drop all the way yet because I still have the other side secure. But when it does drop, we don't want it to just drop on the floor because if you guys remember, that O2 sensor is still in the exhaust. Let's go take the bolts out the other side. All right. See how the exhaust just kind of dropped onto the box and onto that piece of wood, and you still have a lot of slack left on this O2 sensor. Yeah, the box that came in the exhaust package and a piece of wood, and you can turn this into a one-man job. I mean, it really is just a one-man job. So the exhaust is out, and now we're gonna just figure out how to put the other one in. So let's take this wire off. Little clip thing right here, just pops off like that. Give it some more slack. Now we can have the exhaust on the ground. I believe that's enough slack now. Let's start taking this O2 sensor off. All right, simple as that. And now with this whole big piece of metal unbolted from the bike, let's get this thing out of here. Ugh. This thing is huge. It's heavy. All right, let's get to work. So now we got to figure out how to put this thing together. These pipes have numbers on them. I'm guessing that means for which cylinder it is. Like this is probably for cylinder 1 and this is probably for cylinder 2. So I don't know where cylinder 1 and cylinder 2 is on this motor, so I guess I'm gonna have to look that up. That's just what I'm thinking. This already has a bung welded onto this pipe for the O2 sensor, so that's nice. Guessing this slips onto here. And then there's some springs. It'll keep the pipes in place, retained and all that. I guess I gotta find out which one is 1 and which one is 2, right? All right, let's find out which one's cylinder 1 and cylinder 2, because I'm not trying to guess. So according to Google's AI overview, which I usually take with a grain of salt, but sometimes it can be helpful. It says, on the Yamaha R7 CP2 twin cylinder engine, cylinder 1 is typically the leftmost cylinder when you're sitting on the bike, numbering sequentially 1 to 2 from left to right, which is standard for many inline twins providing strong low to mid-range torque, blah, 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 blah. So to identify cylinder 1, sit on the bike. Imagine yourself in a riding position, look at the engine. The cylinder on your left is cylinder 1. Okay, this pipe has to be cylinder 1, according to Google AI overview. And I already have it there. Cool, perfect. So let's just assemble this. I believe there's like gaskets and stuff. I think they may still be on the head, the exhaust ports, because they are not on the factory exhaust. So hopefully they're over there. Then we'll install this thing. And then it looks like we will be using the factory nuts. So let's go ahead and do that now. Actually, before we get too crazy with it, let's install this O2 sensor while it has the maximum amount of slack. So that way we could spin the pipe and not the actual sensor itself. And then once it's on, we'll tighten it down. I forgot to put anti-seize on it. So I'll be threading it back just a little bit and we'll throw some anti-seize on threads. I have some of this Denso, I think it's copper. I usually just keep these whenever I do like O2 sensor jobs or whatever. Cause when I used to work at a shop, we had like a whole tub of this. And these always usually come with the new O2 sensors. So you just gotta put a little bit. You don't have to put it all over. Just literally put it on one side of the threads. Literally like that much is all you need on one side. Because when you start threading it in, it's going to pretty much just spread everywhere onto the rest of the threads. I would have actually liked to put that anti-seize a little bit lower on the threads, but I didn't want to thread out the whole thing. I mean, some anti-seize is better than no anti-seize, right? All right, so that's that. So let's start bolting this thing down. So here's the gaskets I was talking about. They were actually still inside there. So we're gonna reuse these because the new kit didn't come with these. So those just go inside the exhaust ports, literally just like that. And the pipes will basically butt up against those gaskets and then we'll tighten them down with the 12mm nuts. Okay guys, I don't know what these numbers mean, but they don't go on the way that I thought they were supposed to go on. So when I was putting number 1 to where cylinder 1 is supposed to be, these pipes would not line up and I could not get this thing to sit right. It kept hitting the oil pan and everything. So I swapped the headers and now it fits perfect. So either Google was wrong or these stickers are wrong, but either way, it's all good now. So let's continue on with this exhaust install. Okay, so we got the headers on, the mid pipe on. Now we're gonna get the tip on. So everything is still loose right now. So that way, once we have everything lined up, then we could tighten down the header bolts or the nuts and then put on that retaining spring right here and then get this all mounted up to where the frame exhaust mount is and all that. So let's get this guy on there, get everything all fitted. And then once everything is all nice and lined up and fitted, we will then proceed to tighten everything down. So they gave us this little bracket. They also gave us like a bolt and a washer and one nut. So I guess we're gonna try to figure out how to rig this so it can safely be mounted onto the frame somehow. Probably use this for here. Let's try this. All right. I think I have an idea of what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna figure this out, get some more hardware, and then I'll be right back. All right, so check it out. I got that bracket in there with their supplied Allen head bolt and a nut, and then the factory bolt, I have it in the factory location, so I just need to find a nut for that one, and then we should be good to go. All right, guys, I have found a nut, so let's continue installing this bracket to the mount. Now that that looks good, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything down, put the retaining springs on, and then see how she sounds. So when you don't have the right tool, the zip tie and screwdriver trick works pretty well. All right, so we got these in. Now we just gotta get the front springs in, and then after that, we'll tighten up those header nuts. All right, onto the front springs. Same method with the zip tie and the screwdriver. There we go. First spring is in. There we go. All right. Mission success. We have all of our springs on. The exhaust is mounted. Now we just gotta do those exhaust nuts, and then we're gonna fire her up. So these header nuts weren't too tight when I broke them loose earlier, so I'm probably gonna tighten them as much as how tight they were earlier, but probably just like a little bit more. I probably should look up the torque spec for this, but yeah, I'm gonna look up the torque spec for it. Why not? Let me just snug these down and then I'll get the torque wrench. That way you guys know what the torque value is too. All right, they're all snug. Let's find out what the torque spec is for these header nuts. So I saw somewhere on Google, which led to the Yoshimura website, that these header nuts are supposed to be torqued to 23 Newton meters. So we will torque them to 23 Newton meters. When I broke them loose, they felt just about that too. 23 isn't a lot at all. All right. All right, guys. So excited right now. We're about to hear the first startup of this thing. Let me get everything ready and then we'll start her up. Are you guys ready for the first startup? Let's go. This thing is loud. That thing is loud. Let me turn the gain down on my mic real quick and we'll start it right back up. Guys, this thing is so freaking loud. She's like purring, but like aggressively purring. My neighbors are for sure gonna hate me in the morning. Jeez. All right, she's showing some temperature on the dash now, so let's give her some revs. Okay, I was not expecting that first one. That was very loud. Oh man. Yeah, so anyways, there she is, all installed. Yeah, so this is a full exhaust. It says SC project on it. I don't know if it's a real SC project. I'm sure it's not because it was only like 170 bucks. But I mean, the quality of the welds look pretty good. So far, I mean, it sounds good. But we're gonna hear it later. I'm gonna get some clips of me riding this thing. All right, let's put this thing back together and then we're gonna go for our first ride.